President Donald Trump and his administration is making three big changes when it comes to credit in February of 2026. Now, with these first two changes, it's going to be positive for each and every American. But the third change, it's going to be negative, and 14 million people may be denied for loans and credit with that change. So we're going to jump into the first major change. Now, the first change is capping interest rates at 10% on credit cards for a year. Now, Donald Trump have made a request to credit card companies to cap Americans' credit card interest rate at 10% for a year. And he asked them to do that in January on the 20th of 2026. But this received some major pushback from credit card companies that said this will have a negative effect and cause multiple people for getting denied for credit because they will have to tighten their lending standards. So Trump believed that this can save at least Americans $900 a month on interest and credit card payments, where they can actually put that towards the debt to pay it off and help cost of living in the United States. Now, the credit card companies say otherwise. Now, what is your opinion on the situation? Do you think capping that interest rate at 10% for a year is positive, or do you agree with the credit card companies that it will be negative? Drop your opinion in the comment section. Now, because they're not agreeing to take action, he have reached out to Elizabeth Warren, who now is going to work with a bipartisan effort to get this done. And this is her opinion on the situation.
President Trump reached out to Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren for a conversation that the White House called productive. Joining us right now with the details of how that conversation came about and maybe some areas where they can work together. It sounds like a Saturday Night Live skit that the two of you actually spoke and had something that the White House called productive.
I want to start with the big picture here. Is there anybody defending 36% interest rate on credit cards or 28% interest on credit cards? Anybody out there who isn't paid by the industry that's putting out those credit cards? And do keep in mind right now, there are a lot of community banks, there are a lot of credit unions that are putting out credit cards at much, much lower interest rates. But what do the credit card company giants say? They say, oh, no, you can't touch credit card interest rates. No matter what, it will be the end of the world. We will shut down credit cards. They go on and on and on. And basically, it's the same song they sang over what would happen if the CFPB put some caps on overdraft fees. What would happen if the CFPB put caps on fees on credit cards? The credit card companies literally make billions of dollars. Last year, they made $150 billion in profits off the credit cards that American families are holding. So we have some choices to make. Do the investors and the corporate executives keep that $150 billion, or does some chunk of that go back to hardworking families who are just trying to pay their mortgage, just trying to pay for groceries every month?
Now, with this bipartisan effort to change legislation in order to get this done, this can be extremely positive for every American credit score, because if their interest rates on their credit cards come down, this will affect their utilization on their credit reports. And many people were forced to use their credit cards due to the pandemic and the higher cost of goods and living. And so them being able to pay off this debt will positively affect their credit scores. Now, the second big push by the Trump administration is to push the legislation of the Credit Access and Inclusion Act. This bill was introduced by Senator Tim Scott and is supported by Mike Rounds and Katie Von Britt and Kevin Kramer. Credit Access and Inclusion Act of 2025 is a bipartisan federal bill introduced in the 119th U.S. Congress that seeks to amend the Fair Credit Reporting Act, FCRA, to help more Americans build credit, especially those with limited or no traditional credit history. If enacted, this act could reshape the U.S. credit reporting by recognizing non-traditional payment history, offering millions of Americans a way to build credit or improve their credit scores without taking on new debt. The expanded credit history data. The bill will allow new types of positive payment information to be reported to the major credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, including rent payments, utility payments, gas and electric and water, telecommunications, phone and internet. These are often not included in traditional credit reports, but can reflect responsible financial behavior. The support is for credit invisible customers. Millions of Americans are considered credit invisible. They lack enough data for a credit score. The act is designed to help these consumers build credit without new debt, including long-standing positive payment history from non-loan sources. Consumer protections. To protect consumers, the bill will allow consumers to opt out of reporting this new data if they choose, ensure that on-time payments are reported while late payments are not reported if a consumer is on an approved repayment or assistance plan, clarifying federal law. The act will amend the FCRA by adding new language that explicitly permits full reporting, including the expanded data categories mentioned above. This provides legal clarity for landlords, utility companies, and telecom providers who may want to furnish this data to consumer agencies. An estimate 26 million Americans currently have no credit file, and another 19 million have unscorable credit histories. This leaves them shut out from essential opportunities like home ownership, auto loans, and higher education financing. Supporter says it will responsibly increase credit access and opportunities for consumers historically excluded from the mainstream credit system. Now, this would be positive for credit building because these are bills that you're already paying, and by the reporting of it, it can help even negative items that you already have on your credit, like late payments. By adding these on, you can add on more positive on-time payments that can help increase your credit score. Now, if you're looking to improve your credit, in the month of January, I started my credit kickoff, and this is designed to increase your credit score by 100 points in 30 days with tips and hacks. I'm going live every Saturday right here on YouTube, and this is absolutely free. And I go live at 8 p.m. Central Time every Saturday. If you want to join, just subscribe to the channel and hit your notification bell to hit all notifications, and you'll be notified when I go live. And with my elite credit system, users like Greg was able to remove a collection in 12 days. So if you need my help with my AI software and coaching, that link is in the description of the video and pinned comment section. And with this gives people alternatives to help improve their credit score without going deep into debt. Now, the third and final change is the federal withdrawal of the anti-bias lending guidance. Now, this will have a negative impact and can lead to millions for getting denied for credit and loans. And here's the breakdown. U.S. withdrawal guidance barring lending discrimination against immigrants. The U.S. Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and the Department of Justice have withdrawn guidance that explicitly barred lenders from discriminating against immigrants and non-citizens, a move that could affect how immigrants access loans. The decision announced on Monday removes a Biden-era policy that had aimed to clarify how existing fair lending laws apply to immigration and citizen status. The guidance was issued in 2023 under former President Joe Biden. It stated that lenders could consider immigration or citizen status while reviewing loan applications, but not as the sole factor and not in a way that cause bias or discrimination. While the federal law already prohibits discriminatory lending practices, the guidance was meant to clearly spell out how those protections apply to non-citizen borrowers. The policy change comes as the administration has stepped up efforts to encourage immigrants without legal status to leave the country. Last April, it began voiding Social Security numbers that had been issued under temporary protective status. As reported by Reuters, lawyers state that lenders could adopt blanket rules such as requiring an active Social Security number to apply for credit, which may align with current policy, but still risk violating the law if used as a pretext to deny loans. Now, this can negatively affect people depending on their actual status of citizenship. Now, even those with green cards can be affected, and that's about 14 million people in the United States, not including with those who are here on visas. Whether its legal status is proper or not, now banks can examine that. And when you look at some of the policies, there is a mass push of removing people from the country that may not be citizens at this time. So the banks could see non-citizenship as a risky gamble. Because if the banks give you a loan and you're slated to be deported out the country, you're leaving with money that's not being paid back, or credit cards that you can withdraw funds that's not going to be paid back, or even you might have a mortgage. So then that home goes into foreclosure. So this is allowing them to look at that status of citizenship to approve you or deny you for credit. Now, down the line, it may even lead to credit cards and even current loans to be recalled in by lenders if they see the policy of deportation going on. So this can affect a lot of people here who are non-citizens. So hopefully this information is helpful. If you have any questions or comments, leave it in the comment section. More detailed questions for me, you can go to my website and all your questions go directly to my cell phone. I hope to see you guys in the next video. Stay tuned.